Welcome to True Crime Bites, Death Row and Executions, where we honor lives lost and revisit the final chapters of those who crossed the line. Mark Allen Geralds is scheduled to be executed on December 9th, 2025, more than 3 decades after the murder that put him on Florida's death row. His name has resurfaced in headlines as the state prepares for what may become one of the highest volume execution years in its modern history. But to understand why this execution is happening now, we have to return to the tragic crime that began it all. In February of 1989, 33-year-old Tressa Pettibone was found murdered inside her Panama City Beach home. Her 8-year-old son discovered her lying on the kitchen floor after returning from school. The medical examiner later determined that she had been stabbed 3 times in the neck and had suffered multiple blunt force injuries. Marks on her wrist showed that she had been bound with a plastic tie before the fatal attack. Investigators quickly focused on a man who had recently worked inside the Pettibone home, Mark Allen Geralds. Geralds had done remodeling work for the family and knew their routines. Evidence recovered during the investigation pointed directly toward him. Jewelry belonging to Pettibone, contaminated with her blood, was found in pawn shops where Geralds had sold it shortly after her death. Plastic ties discovered in his car matched the ones used to restrain her. In 1990, Geralds was convicted of first-degree murder, as well as armed robbery, burglary, and grand theft auto. The jury unanimously recommended the death penalty. Although his original death sentence was later overturned, a new sentencing proceeding in 1993 reinstated the punishment. For more than 3 decades, Geralds pursued appeals in state and federal courts. His attorneys raised multiple issues over the years, including concerns about legal representation and procedural fairness. But every claim was ultimately rejected. Then in November 2025, Florida's governor signed a death warrant scheduling Geralds' execution for December 9th. Shortly afterward, Geralds informed the court that he wished to waive all remaining appeals. A judge evaluated his competency and determined that he understood the consequences of that decision and was acting voluntarily. Now, as the date approaches, Florida prepares for the execution of a man whose case has been tied up in the courts for over 35 years. And at the center of it all remains the victim, Tressa Pettibone, a young mother whose life was cut short in a brutal and senseless act that left her family and community forever changed. For the family of Tressa Pettibone, the impact of the crime has lasted far beyond the events of 1989. Her death left a lasting void, and the lengthy legal journey that followed has kept the case alive in public memory. Whether the execution is seen as closure, justice served, or simply the final procedural step in a long legal process is something that observers, experts, and the public continue to interpret from their own perspectives. Geralds' execution will conclude the legal chapter, but the consequences of the crime continue to echo decades later. Thank you for watching and for taking the time to follow this case. If you found this video informative, feel free to like, subscribe, and explore more factual true crime stories on the channel.